Welcome back inside Skydome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where the fans are in the mood to celebrate. The parade is already being planned for tomorrow as the Blue Jays and their fans are eager to keep the trophy north of the border. The only reason we have returned to Canada is that the Phillies refused to fold. That group there came back strong in Game 5. Surely you've heard the old saying about playing them one game at a time. Well, tonight, folks, this is that one game. So pull up a chair and join us. Get out your peanuts and Cracker Jack. No rain tonight. This is Canada Drive. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the 1993 World Series. We've got a couple of storylines to get you up to date on tonight. First, now that they are back home, the Toronto Blue Jays can take full advantage of the designated hitter rule to use their awesome lineup to the fullest. Paul Molitor will DH as the Jays look to clinch for the first time in Canada before each World Series game here. We've commented about the remarkable streaks of the hockey teams in Toronto. The Maple Leafs are going for a league record 9th straight victory to begin the season. As it turns out, the Philadelphia Flyers are doing quite well. They are 6-1, and on this Saturday night, it's baseball night in Canada. When we come back, Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver will have the call for Game 6 right after a message from your very own local station. Enjoy the game, everybody.
The roof at Skydome is closed, but if the Blue Jays win tonight, the fans may raise the roof in celebration of Toronto's second straight World Championship. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game 6 of the World Series. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Tim McCarver, and it's great to have you with us. The situation is the same as it was Thursday night for Game 5 in Philadelphia. Toronto still one win away from the World Championship, while the Philadelphia Phillies are in a must-win situation to force a Game 7 here tomorrow night. And Tim, we said at the start of this series that we thought it would be high-scoring, and it has been, and the top of the orders have been doing more than their fair share.
As a matter of fact, the 1, 2, 3 spots in both orders has been as easy as 1, 2, 3. Look at the average for the Philadelphia Phillies, a 375 average, Toronto 362, and the 1, 2, and 3 spot has scored more than half of the runs that have been scored in this series. I think the rest of the order, as far as the Blue Jays is concerned, has been productive, especially with the production of Tony Fernandez. However, I think for the Phillies to win the next 2 games, they're going to have to get production out of their number 4 and 5 spots. That's Dave Hollins and Darren Daulton.
And the pitching matchup tonight is a rematch of Game 2, won by Philadelphia when Terry Mulholland bested Dave Stewart. We'll have the first pitch of Game 6 from Skydome right after this.
It is Sportsfeld Storytime. We are going back to our childhood, the way back, 1993. If you've been following along, we are tracking the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays, the team that truly, and I mean truly, solidified our love of baseball for the rest of our lives. Specifically, October 23rd, 1993, 52,195 fans crammed into a, wasn't there, but I'm going to guess, humid and gross Skydome. With the dome closed, it's humid and gross. That's just the rules.
It was the early 90s, so everyone was wearing like heavy gray sweaters.
This wasn't neon 90s? That was like early, 96, 97.
Yeah, this is early 90s. This is like, because every like 93 World Series merch item you see is like a heather gray sweater that just has like the World Series logo on the front. It looks like gym clothes. It all looks like gym clothes.
Yeah. Because every photo, I guess that is like, it's like 95, 96, 97 was like neon.
Yeah.
Everything was neon day glow. Because all the photos of me back then, and from my recollection, I wanted things to be neon green, neon orange, or teal. Those are the 3 colors that I liked in the world.
That's great. I love that.
The last couple of weeks we have gone through, we have basically for the first time in our lives, I would say, become conscious of what happened in the Blue Jays regular season this year and discussed the forgotten American League Championship Series against the Chicago White Sox. And then we dug through the 1993 World Series, which was, I think you put it perfectly, sort of an introduction to having heroes and villains in sports.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies were just, I don't know, I guess like now that I know more about sort of the sports and people and cities, like that Phillies team is very much like a Philly team, I think. But like, boy, I fucking hated them.
Yeah, an extremely Philly team in that they didn't win.
And I still hate the Phillies to this day.
What's so like about the Phillies?
Even when Doc went there, it was tough for me to be like, I want Doc to do well, but also fuck the Phillies.
It almost went perfectly.
It's true.
In that he threw a no-hitter and a perfect game, and then the rest of the team didn't win.
It's very true.
Went just about perfectly. Game 6, coming off some real crazy, like you mentioned it before, if there was Twitter around, would have been like tweets out the butt. Game 4 where John Olerud, Paul Molitor playing third. John Olerud got benched for a game so they could play Paul Molitor at first in game 3. The 15-14 comeback in game 4. 2-0 shutout in game 5. Schilling's masterpiece. Schilling, who's not in the Hall of Fame and can get fucked if he's listening to this. We roll in to game 6. All-time drama. Before we get into the game, Jake, as we are wont to do when we focus on absolutely one major game, where were you on the night of October 23rd, 1993?
I was at home because I was
Makes
5.
sense. Where
I was 5 years old. I believe I watched the whole game. I know in 92, being literally 4 years old, I remember I did not see, because like that game was like long and late. I think it was extra innings even when they won in 92.
It dragged on.
I believe I was woken up the next morning being told that they won. But I think I would have been, we were in the first home I lived in, which was at Pape and Danforth in Toronto. So I must have been in our third floor, tiny like attic living room space watching the game is where I would have been.
With hardcore fan Todd Goldsby.
With hardcore fan, and especially then. Todd Goldsby is a sports guy now, but like not really. Early 90s. So it was a sports family for sure.
I was in Buffalo, New York in a hotel room.
Really?
Yep. And it's funny you mentioned 1982. This is a famous family story that I went to bed crying and upset when the Blue Jays won in 1982.
Were you a Braves fan?
No. You have to caution, right? 6 years old. You don't understand that it's like impossible that the Blue Jays are in the World Series, right?
Right.
I couldn't. Here's what I wanted, right? I wanted the Blue Jays to win at home. That was all I wanted. That's what I was mad about.
You know what?
They were winning.
I get that. When I was a kid, that was a big deal. Winning at home was like a thing. I remember that.
I was at that time I was at my Aunt Deb's house, Aunt Deb and Uncle Bruce. I was at their house, and I'm ridiculed to this day, of course, in that house because I was crying and mad the Blue Jays won. Everyone else in the family was going bananas, and I am crying because I wanted them to win at home. And like, I was like mad that they're not even really a Canadian team. Like the Braves have more Canadians, I think I said. What a little shit. But yeah, I was like mad in 92 because I wanted them to win. I thought game 7 at home is more fun, was my thought. Right? Because the idea that they weren't going to win was stupid. Obviously they're going to win. Right? Why wouldn't they win?
Right.
I want them to win. I want them to win at home.
With the crowd.
With the crowd in the most exciting way possible, right?
Right. Which is basically what ended up happening.
Well, look at me now a year later. Who's so smart all of a sudden? 1993 rolls around. I'm 100% not going to get sad this time because I'm a year older and a year smarter. And when you're very young, 1 year is a huge difference in your development, of course. Interesting. Not at home for either one of these games as it goes. But yeah, we were in a hotel room in Buffalo, New York. I was jumping up and down on the bed when Joe Carter did what he did. I think that's very funny to me. You're not remembering if you were away for the whole game. It's one of those things where like you don't realize it until you're older that like there's a good chance you did fall asleep and your dad like woke you up and showed it to you after, and you thought it was happening live and had no idea.
Or I've watched the World Series tapes every day for 3 years, which I did. And like I've seen the highlights a million times, so it's like in my head that I was awake, but maybe I wasn't. I was literally just 5 years old. So solid chance I didn't stay up till 10:30 or 11 or whatever this game ended.
But yeah, jumping up and down on the bed when this game ended. And remember honking in the street. Remember people out of their hotel rooms whooping and yelling as we are in America. But Buffalo is basically Canada, let's be honest with you, in terms of proximity to the border. And at the time, like, it's not like the Buffalo residents were huge Phillies fans. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but the Philadelphia Phillies, did they not rally around the song Whoomp There It Is?
A party over there, wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These 3 words when you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, hey man. Whoop, there it is. 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 Upside down and inside out, I'm about to show all you folks what it's all about. Now it's time for us to get on the mic and make this party hot.
Maybe?
I had to look this up. Yes, I couldn't even finish the thing. Whoomp There It Is, 1983 Phillies. Oh, look at this. From PhillyMag.com. The headline is Fat, Drunk, and Endearing, a look back at the 93 Phillies.
There you go. It's all you need. Tells you all you need to know.
It was number 1 on the Billboard Hot R&B charts in 92, 93.
The only song I remember from this era was the Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Didn't they bring that back in 2015?
I think they did. I think you're right.
You hate to see that.
Yeah.
It's never as funny the second time. Yeah, the Coke commercial, iconic. That Coke commercial.
That and Catch the Taste were the Jays commercials, I remember.
Yeah. God, it's so funny being a kid because, like, even this game, like, I really only remember the home run.
Yeah.
And, like, but, like, you tell me the commercials or you tell me the tapes or you tell me, like, a quote that somebody said in the tape. I'm like, oh, I got that down pat.
Oh, I can tell you, like, the fan banter that the cameras caught of, like, Phillies fans in 93.
Yes, the girl with the decals underneath her eyes praying and crying.
Yeah. But the
dude doing tiger fist pumps, they got it all in the
You asked
bag.
me how the first few runs of this game were scored? No idea.
I'm glad you asked, Jake. The Blue Jays jump out to a 3-0 lead in the first inning, which again, we've done this before. If we were reliving this, I don't know how I would have survived most of this.
Oh my God. Clinging to a 3-0 lead and 1 game away from the World Series? I would be drunk by the second.
But again, we're kids.
Right.
And the Jays had never not won the World Series as far as I knew.
Right, exactly.
And here's Paul Molitor, another leading contender for MVP honors with his .421 average. Molitor to right center, well hit. Eisenreich on the run, looking up, it's off the wall and a half. White speeding toward third. He'll come around to score. Molitor into third with a triple. And the Blue Jays lead 1-0. Molitor showing tremendous power the other way. Puts a charge in this one to right center. And the ball hits the fence, and with that much hang time, that not only allows White to score, but it allows Molitor to go to third.
his second triple and 5th extra base hit of the series. So he not only drives in one, he's in a good position now to score at third base with less than 2 outs.
Carter, high fly ball to left. Thompson drifting back. Thompson at the wall, makes the catch. Molitor can trot in from third, and the Blue Jays lead 2-0.
It goes Molitor triple to score White. Jolton Joe sac fly to score Molitor. Olerud doubles, because that is all John Olerud does every day of his life, is to hit doubles. And then Alomar drives him in. 3-0 Blue Jays. Terry Mulholland eat it pretty deep. And then we go scoreless into the 4th inning. Jim Eisenreich drives in Darren Dalton. That's, say what you will. Jim Eisenreich drives in Darren Dalton. Dave Stewart, by the way, on the hill for the Blue Jays. Ed Sprague hits a sac fly to score Robbie Alomar. You see a lot of sac flies in the 90s.
Yeah, I know. I feel like sac flies was like a real. Maybe this is a sabermetric thing that changed. Like I remember when I was a kid playing baseball, it was like you can drive that run in, do it, no matter what.
Baby. Bottom 5 with the Jays up 4-1. It's Paulie Motley doodle all the day. Paul Molitor, home run to left field. It is 5-1. I can't believe that wasn't. I would have been like, yeah, that's it, 5-1, game over in 2020. I'd be like, yes, that is it.
It would be
not even close.
If this was the same sort of environment that we watched the Raptors win the finals in. After that Molitor home run, we'd all be doing shots and celebrating. Like, this is over. We're winning the World Series.
A scoreless 6th, and then it all comes absolutely crashing down. Dave Stewart gives up a 3-run shot to Lenny Dykstra. Couldn't pick a worse person to give a 3-run shot to. It's walked, single, Dykstra home run. Now it's 5-4. Dave Hollins drives in Mariano Duncan. Now it's 5-5. Pete Incaviglia hits a sac fly. Got to be a sac fly off of Al Leiter. And all of a suddenly, it is 6-5 Phillies. I assume as a child that I couldn't have cared less about that. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
No big deal. But as an adult, I would have been unconscious. I would have just fallen apart, melted into the ground.
I know exactly what I would have been doing because we went through this right before the bat flip in 2015 with the ball off the bat scoring Francisco Lindor, scoring Rougned Odor. It was the exact position. You sit at a table in the bar you're at, you put your face on your chin or your chin on your hand, and you just sit there and just kind of stare into space. Yeah. And you don't say a word. And anyone who tries to talk to you, you tell the fuck off.
Bartering with God. Pleading for mercy somewhere, some way. But there is the faintest glimmer of hope on the horizon.
A one-run lead for Philadelphia as we go to the bottom of the ninth, and the question posed in the top of the ninth has been answered. Jim Fregosi will manage as he did during the regular season, and he'll give the ball to Mitch Williams to try to get the final 3 outs and force a Game 7.
Remember that old television series, Get Smart, with Don Adams. The great line in that was right 99. Well, Jim Fregosi getting smart and calling in number 99 again. 43 saves this year. It was not a clear-cut thing. I mean, the last time out, Mitch Williams was laced all over Veterans Stadium. And this is his first appearance since Wednesday night.
And he was not warming up with the score 2-0 in favor of Philadelphia in the late innings the other night. Perhaps it's only fitting that in a game like this, no matter which team wins, that Mitch Williams and Tim Batiste will appear in the ball game. A familiar duo in the postseason. Hasn't been a dull moment yet when those two have been in the ball game. Concern about Williams lately from the Phillies standpoint has been his velocity. It has been down in his last couple of outings. Top of the order, Ricky Henderson, Devon White, and Paul Molitor. The Blue Jays need a run before 6 innings. 2 runs and they're the world champion.
The wild thing, Mitch Williams comes out of the bullpen for the bottom of the ninth. He immediately walks Ricky Henderson, which baseball history tells us one of the worst things you can do is walk Ricky Henderson.
Never walk Ricky.
Never.
Also,
ever.
like, not going to say like the Blue Jays winning was like preordained or anything. Starting your bottom of the ninth off with literally Ricky Henderson leading off and getting on base. Good luck.
It's what you would draw up. Could you draw it up?
Truly.
Devon White flies out to left. Paul Molitor singles, because all Paul Molitor does as a Blue Jay is like we've been through the entire postseason and most of the season. I don't know if we ever covered a game where it was like Molitor didn't play very well. Home run and a triple in this game, 3 for 5, 3 runs, drove into his final line in the World Series is 447, 527, 851 for a 1378 OPS. Crazy. Paul Molitor was crazy as a Blue Jay. And then, stepping to the plate is Joe Carter.
Joe has had his moments. 2 balls and 2 strikes on him. Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a belt. Left field. Way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Touch 'em all, Joe. Listen, the greatest moment, the greatest call, something that you'll never forget. I mean, it's a touchstone of our childhoods. It's one of the great moments in baseball history, which is what I love about it.
Yeah, I also feel like this might be wrong, but like, I feel like it's a moment that doesn't get the historical credit it deserves in a lot of ways. Like,
I agree.
You see a lot of lists of like great baseball moments, and like, I don't know why, but I feel like the Kirk Gibson home run is always ahead of the Carter one, which to me is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And Joe Carter's literally won the World Series with a home run. The other thing I find interesting about this one is because as Toronto people, Tom Cheek's call is so burned into our brains, I forget constantly that wasn't like the broadcast call. Like when you go look for a highlight, because sometimes like I want to watch Joe Carter win the World Series for a second. And then I think it's Brian Gumbel who calls it. And like, it's not a bad call or anything, but it's just in your head, you're ready to hear Tom Cheek. And then it's not. You're like, oh, right. It's just funny how that like Mandela affects itself into our heads. And also to the point of what we were talking about, experiencing this now, this would have killed me.
Oh, yeah.
This would have just destroyed me. I wouldn't know what to do.
Couldn't agree more. It would have been thinking about how the bat flip crushed your brain, thinking about the idea of like, holy cow, this would have been pandemonium. This would have been like call an ambulance.
Like I was at the 2016 wildcard game when Edwin walked it off, and that was amazing. And like, it was bananas. No one could really control anything about themselves when he hit the home run. And that was like literally to kind of make the playoffs. To win the World Series, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I would just run in a circle. I think if we were in a bar, I would run out of the bar and like run around the block.
Well, I'll tell you what I did is I jumped up and down on a bed in a hotel room, and I went out and howled at the moon in Buffalo, New York. What an unbelievable memory. And we mentioned it before, only further cements that like, I don't care that Joe Carter wasn't the best player in the league. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it will never matter.
It's about moments. It always has been. That is the absolute peak of the Blue Jays World Series run. It doesn't get better than that. It can't get better than that. It's as good as it could possibly be. In the next episode, next week, we will deal with the fallout because things sort of fell apart after this, not for the Blue Jays, but for baseball in general. And it took them a long time to sort of dig out onto the rubble. We will cover the fallout from the 93 World Series and the strike and all the things that follow in the next episode of Sportsfeld Storytime.